What's good, YouTube? It's your boy KHIRY, and welcome to KHIRY TV. In today's video, we have a movie review for you, Thunderbolts asterisk. I'm just saying asterisk because they added on there, and I'll explain the asterisk stuff later on in the review. It's directed by Schreier, and it stars Florence Pugh, Sebastian Stan, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Louis Pullman, and David Harbour. After finding themselves in a death trap, an unconventional team of anti-heroes must embark on a dangerous mission that will force them to confront the darkest corner of their past. Per usual, good, bad, eh. Now, I know the burning question is, did this movie bring Marvel back after Captain America, Brave New World? And I must say that I think Marvel's been back, in my personal opinion, because I'm not those nitpicky comic book nerds that nitpicks everything that they see in the movie. So, to be honest, I was fine with the Captain America movie, even though this movie is way better than Captain America Brave New World. I believe Marvel been back. They never really missed a step too many times. I mean, some of the shows not up to par. I just don't got a high expectation for Marvel. My expectation is not in-game level. I believe Marvel fandom, either you gotta be in-game level or you gonna be at the bottom of the barrel, like Eternals. I'm not that person. I'm not on the hate train. I'm not on the love bombing train when it comes to Marvel. I'm not on none of that. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get to the good of this movie. The good. This movie is very dark. Y'all know me, I like my dark stuff. I like my dark Marvel. This movie is very dark to be a Marvel movie. I know it's PG-13, but it's still a dark, I guess, plot for Marvel. It's more darker than normal movies, so go in with that mindset that this is a dark movie. I mean, it has its Marvel humor too, but mainly this is centered around a dark subject matter, which I was perfectly fine with. And they actually killing people in this movie. Like, they showing you, I mean, in other Marvel movies, they kill people. But in this movie, they actually showing like blood and headshots. It's more in your face than most Marvel movies, because they killing like humans in this. This movie is very funny. Well, I ain't gonna say very funny, it's shockingly funny, because I wouldn't expect it to be. I expected to have the Marvel humor, but I didn't expect me to like the Marvel humor or some of the jokes and banter that was going on throughout this whole movie. So that surprised me that I laughed a couple times throughout this movie. And mainly it came from David Harbour and Buddy that plays U.S. Agent. They was like the comedic relief of the movie. Now the characters that I like, from most like to least like, and we're gonna start off with Yelena. She's the star of the movie, of course, and she's the leader of the Thunderbolts. Florence Pugh is gonna kill it when it comes to the acting part. I mean, David Harbour, he actually did all right in one scene, a little emotional scene. He did pretty good in. But Yelena, it's all about her. It's all surrounding her. She's the leader. She does a great job. I want her to be our new Black Widow, in other words. R.I.P. to the first Black Widow, but she's our new Black Widow, and I'm perfectly fine with it. Because I care about her Black Widow more than I care about our old Black Widow, as far as like backstories and stuff like that. Because it does show her backstory, a little bit more into her backstory, which we'll get into that later. Val, she was the comic relief too. I know a lot of people say they didn't like her, they don't like that style of comedy, but I thought she was fine. She kind of reminded me of Tony Stark quite a bit throughout this whole movie, so I think that's why I ended up liking her more than I thought I was gonna like her. She even said a MCU joke in this movie. I'm pretty sure it's gonna fly over a lot of people's heads, but when she was talking to Yelena, she threw in a MCU joke that I found funny, because I'm not on that train of, oh, Marvel's putting too many women in the forefront. I don't give a fuck about none of that. I can care less. Just give me a good movie to watch and I'm perfectly fine with it. I'm a little iffy about making every superhero a woman and just drowning us with women, but I'm not seeing that with Marvel. It's only 2 or 3 women in this movie surrounded by men, so hey. Red Guardian, he was pretty funny. I liked his scene. Most of his scenes were in the trailer, but he was fine. He did what he was supposed to do. And I know a lot of people didn't like his humor, which I understand because it can get annoying sometimes, but me personally, I was fine with it. U.S. Agent, he was funnier than I expected him to be. I like him better in this movie than I liked him in Falcon and the Winter Soldier or Captain America and the Winter Soldier. Ghost, her powers was great in this movie. She definitely a better character in this movie than she was in Ant-Man 2. Even just her out of the mask character was pretty good. She almost felt like a leader to me throughout this movie. Even though she wasn't the leader and she was kind of in the background, she has leader qualities, I would say. And I feel like I want to see more of her in the MCU. Probably not on this team, but I mean, she's on this team now. I want to see her later on in the MCU. I think she did a good job. Bob, I'm just gonna call him Bob. I'm not gonna spoil anything just in case you haven't watched the trailers, or even if you did watch the trailer, just in case you don't know the MCU lore. I'm just gonna call him Bob. Bob, as a character, he was great. The actor that plays him was great. I think he was like the second best when it comes to acting, because he has a lot of, I guess, scenes in this movie. Some of the stuff is kind of surrounding him too, who he is throughout the movie. So when it comes to the CGI of him, I enjoyed just his regular banter with everybody. I enjoyed. He felt like just a random person that they just plug in. Bob was a pretty good character, and I'm curious to see if they're gonna continue him throughout the MCU or they just gonna bench him. Taskmaster. When y'all watch the movie, I should put Taskmaster under bad because it wasn't enough for her. But the little that I got, I was fine with. It's just funny what happens to her. That's all I'm gonna say. I enjoyed the action scene where they all met together with Taskmaster. I keep saying skirt. Taskmaster, U.S. Agent, Yelena, Ghost, Bob all met in that room and got the fighting. That whole fighting scene was great. The action in this movie was great, even though it wasn't a lot of it, but the action in this movie was good for the most part. It felt very Captain American action. There's no, at least at the beginning, there's no super power being fighting them. It's just them fighting each other. And they do not like each other throughout this whole movie. You know, usually through the middle, around the middle of the movie, they end up liking each other later on. Nah, I think it took it to the very end for everybody to actually like each other and work together. I mean, they was working together throughout the movie, but it's almost like they was forced to work together to survive. The transition during the dream sequence, they get put in a dream sequence where they see their past and they have to deal with their past. I feel like the transition from each dream sequence, they in one room, they walk into another room. I enjoyed that transition. That stood out to me. And the special effects, especially on Bob, I really enjoyed. I mean, that's on the special effects that's really in the movie. And Ghost special effects is pretty much like an Ant-Man. I just like how Ghost used her powers to survive. It made her really, not compelling, that's not the word I'm looking for. It made her a really good character to have on your team, I'll just say that. The ending was nice. I'm not gonna spoil what happens at the end, but at the end, I was like, okay, that's cute, that's nice. I enjoyed that, especially since I'm big on mental health. I really enjoyed what happens at the end. The bad, Bucky. There wasn't enough Bucky in there. When he showed up, he was fine. Kind of made him like a bitch, but I get it. I feel like they should have added more Bucky. I think they should have made Bucky the co-lead. They just threw Bucky up in there. They really didn't need Bucky. They could have threw somebody else up in there and it wouldn't have been fine. They should have just added more Bucky. And I didn't like the beginning scenes with him. I just didn't care for it. It wasn't to the end when he's really fighting and showing up that I enjoyed him. But by that time, the movie was damn near over with. And it wasn't a lot of Red Guardian at the beginning. You'll see him maybe once or twice. But majority through the movie too, you don't see him until like the end. I like Red Guardian. Like I said, some people don't. I enjoyed him, so I expected to see more of him, especially since he's Yelena's dad. The jump cuts, there was a particular jump cut at the beginning when it jumped from Val situation to Yelena's situation. They just did it at awkward times. Like once Yelena finishes a sentence, it'll jump to Val, then she'll have her little situation going on. Then in the middle of her sentence, it'll jump back to Yelena. Maybe I'm over exaggerating with that, but I just found that I just want to stick with Yelena and her crew, the Thunderbolts. I didn't too much care for Val's side story, even though they both intertwined with each other. I ain't want to see none of that. I guess because it lacks action in this movie. I want to see Yelena, because every time she's in front of the camera, there's action. So I just wanted to see that more than I wanted to see Val. I did doze off quite a bit. I think I dozed off maybe 2 or 3 times. 2, at the least I dozed off twice. And then maybe there was a third one until like the big action scene at the end. I was tired from work, y'all. I went straight to the movies right after work, rushing to the movies. I was already tired. And then there are some slow moments. Some people may say this movie is boring to them because there's not a lot of action. I was just tired, y'all, and I didn't get the chance to see Val's backstory because that's one of the parts I fell asleep on. And I can't remember any other parts I fell asleep on, but I do remember falling asleep on her backstory, which I wish I would have saw, but I didn't get a chance to see. Do what you want with the information. I was tired, y'all. I was tired. And like I said before, not a lot of action. It's maybe maybe 3 action scenes, maybe 4, 3 or 4 action scenes. It's not that many for this to be almost 2 hour. I think it's almost 2 hour movie. It's not a lot of action, y'all. It's more talking, more background, more on the ground type stuff going on. So do what you want with that information. In the egg part, there's a different Marvel logo. If y'all care about that, I thought that was pretty cool and noticeable. It went back to the comics. It didn't go to the how they show MCU characters throughout the years. It's not showing that no more. Well, at least in this movie, it's showing like the comics, like what Marvel used to do, put the comics in it, and then the logo just goes black, which it stood out, and I guess that's just something I just want to add on to the review. The asterisk makes sense. How they got the name was kind of, they could have came up a better way with how they got the name, but nevertheless they got the name and they added asterisk at the end because only one person agreed that was the team name. Everybody else like, nah, that shit's trash. And it makes sense at the end on why they got an asterisk at Thunderbolts. So without spoiling anything, the Red Room was fucked up. Elena's backstory and how the Red Room treated them is very fucked up. I see why the original Black Widow, Natasha, I see why she's fucked in the head as far as missions and killing people and possibly, or almost killing a little girl who is Taskmaster. Spoiler alert for Black Widow. I see why. And I see why Yelena is depressed and sad and all this stuff throughout this movie because the Red Room really fucked them up. I would hate to be them. I would like the skills, but I would hate how I got the skills. Like, they fucked their heads up real bad. 3 people left before the credits. I thought that was very funny. I was just sitting there like pathetic. Nah, there's a meme I'm gonna post That's what my exact face was. I remember seeing it on Facebook. So we all know never to leave in a Marvel movie. Speaking of never leaving after the movie ends until the end credits, there are 2 post credits. There's like a mid post credit and a very end post credit. And the mid post credit leading up to it, I actually enjoyed, like when the names of the actresses and actors pops up, it's catching you up on where we at now. It leads them in the situation that they left from, and then throughout the credits, it just shows how they're progressing in that situation that they was left in. So I really enjoyed that. It caught my attention. And the first post credit is just like a little funny post credit, and then the second post credit is actually getting you set up for the next stage of the MCU. And I like the fact that they talk about mental illness in this movie. Everybody has some type of mental illness because of who they are and what they've been through. And I like that this movie centers around like what they go through day to day mentally when they're not like fighting people or fighting aliens or shit like that. I really enjoyed that, I guess, that subject matter with every character, not just Yelena's, even though her past is more fucked up than anybody, but we just with everybody. Bob's, his past kind of fucked up too, which made him who he ended up being later on. But that's all I got on this Thunderbolts. The grade, I didn't want to give it the same grade as Captain America, Brave New World, which I think I gave it a C- or a C+. I can't remember. I really want to give Thunderbolts a B-, but I feel like it has its slow parts and I fell asleep. And the rewatchability, I will rewatch this movie one day. Even though Captain America's already out, I'm not even planning on rewatching it, but I do plan on rewatching this, just probably not in the theaters. And because of that alone, I think I want to give it a C+, which is still good in my books. Anything that's C and above, I feel like it's good. Once it gets to the D's and the F, you might want to use discretion. I don't want to hype y'all up. I really enjoyed this movie. Not really enjoyed, but I enjoyed this movie. I didn't leave the movie disappointed. I was fine with it. Even some of the YouTubers that I watched, they review movies who just very harsh on Marvel, -1. They gave it a decent score. They were like, it was fine. Like Marvel, they don't believe Marvel is back, but they believe this is a step in the right direction. I would say that. And hopefully Fantastic Four will bring people back. I really do hope Fantastic Four works. It needs to work. It really does needs to work. Thank y'all. Thank y'all so much for watching this review. Like, comment, subscribe, share, tell your friends, tell your neighbors. Peace.